Welcome to Press R, ladies and gentlemen. If one part of the body suffers, all the other parts suffer with it. Or if one part of the body is honored, all the other parts share its honor. Together you are the body of Christ, and each one of you is a part of that body. This is coming from the Bible, 1 Corinthians 12:25 to 27. True to these biblical verses, the northwest and southwest regions have been in pain now for 7 years running. Cameroon as a whole, as a country, is feeling the pain. Let no one deceive us. Are you part of the solution or you are part of the problem? Let us stop this senseless crisis. Let us stop this senseless war. Northwest-Southwest crisis. What is the rule of the international law? Where are we with such a crisis that is costing us a lot of pain? To talk about this, we have Professor Christophe Anso, who is an expert in international law. He is also an expert in conflict resolutions. We have Senator, let me welcome you to this set, Prof. Professor Christophe Anso, you are most welcome to Press R.
Thank you very much, Mr. Killian, and thank you for the invitation.
Yes, we are honored by your presence here. And Senator Henry Francis, he is the coordinator of the Northwest-Southwest Peace Movement for Cessation of Violence. He has been working all this while to make sure that all the guns, all the other forms of violence are silent. Senator, welcome once again.
Thank you. It's my pleasure being here this day.
What's happening that you are working and the war is still there, we have violence, the guns are still rattling?
I think Satan is really about to prove to us that he wants to challenge what peace can bring, and he wants to challenge God.
Will you let that happen?
We are all working towards making that to end.
Yes, and we have Lionel Kungaba. He is a civil society actor. Civil society is talking about those people who are directly concerned with the population, and we have Lionel Kungaba, who is here. He's going to tell us what they are doing.
Good day, Kilian. Good
Yes.
day to my co-panelists. Good day to all our viewers. Good day to the population of the Northwest and Southwest, and especially to those from Nkambe and Bamenda Central. It's always a pleasure to be on the set on Press R to discuss issues related to our nation. Today we are once more here to talk about a painful situation that we have been living for 7 years now, and I think
It's time for us to
it's
stop.
time for it to stop, and it's time for all Cameroonians of goodwill to join all the movements that have been put in place to get back peace in our beloved regions.
Thank you. We look forward to having your input on this program, and you're going to represent the civil society. And a strong civil society in the country makes that country stand out tall and strong, because we have human rights issues that are in place: transparency, accountability, democracy, human rights, and the rest. You can count them. That is what mostly civil societies fight to have. Those things, those values respected. We invited someone who's supposed to be at the center of discussion today, Barrister Emmanuel Nsah-Lai, who is the defender. He's the defense counsel for the victims of the crisis in the Northwest and Southwest. He is not feeling too well. That's why he's not here. But he had a press conference during the week. We're going to revisit our machines and then give you some of the declarations that he made. And before we do that, please watch what the newspaper said during the week. And Emanuela Vemnui read the newspapers for Press R. Emanuela.
News on the 2025 presidential election in Cameroon is aplenty on newspaper columns this week, while SDF says coalition to unseat B are not a priority in the Guardian Post. Municipal Update sees this failed election coalition as a reflection of a weak opposition. Yet SDF Chairman Joshua Osi maintains that SDF is for a winning Cameroon, not a winning individual in the sun, before precising in the post that transition must be in the interest of the people. At a time, villagers of Upper Bayan Flea village as separatists threaten more violence in the dawn, the population of Guzang goes without a market following separatist ban on one of the most popular markets where military displayed body of Amba self-styled General Efang. Amber fighters then inflict desolation on non-compliant truck drivers and owners, burning the trucks into ashes on the Bafut-Bamenda Road ambush. In the Voice newspaper, victims of Amber terrorism then piled pressure on international community for justice in municipal updates. More lawsuits are announced filed against Amber terrorists at ICC, UN and more in the horizon. As Barrister Emmanuel Salai vows justice for Nkambe Youth Day tragedy victims in The Voice, the different procedures towards granting victims to Amber terrorists in the International Criminal Court are explained in Cameroon Tribune. Then, over 250,000 children are said to be out of school in the northwest and southwest regions in the median. At a time, butchers trafficking human bones stir fear in Bamenda in the Post. New urban and interurban transport tariff are announced in Cameroon Tribune, an illogical proportion in The Voice newspaper with 15% fare hike to salvage 15% fuel rise. And in no time, the Association of Interurban Transporters threatens strike action if in the Guardian Post. Workers' unions then demand increase in minimum wage to 100,000 francs CFA in municipal updates, and government increases salaries and family allowances in Cameroon Tribune. The International Business Fair promotes then opens in Yaoundé in Cameroon Tribune. Prime Minister markets opportunities to British businessmen in municipal updates, just when L'Ogideon reports that population is embracing optimism and skepticism a month after rollout of malaria vaccine in Cameroon. The pilot presents Dr. Richard Monang as Africa's development locomotive giant. Until I come your way again, this is your Hour with the Press.
Yes, Manuela, we look forward to having you come next Sunday. Another edition of Press Hour. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us, this is Press Hour, and we are broadcasting live from Studio 4 of the Production Center, CRTV Production Center, Mbala 2 in Yaoundé. Our topic is Northwest-Southwest crisis. What is the role of the international law on ending the senseless war that we have in the Northwest and Southwest, and that, as we started, is making the whole country be in pain. Now, 7 years on, Senator Enwe Francis, you are the coordinator of the Northwest-Southwest Peace Movement for Cessation of Violence. You've been monitoring this for all this while. Is the situation getting better? Is it getting worse?
Well, Killer, not to tell you a lie, I don't know how to describe the situation at this point in time. Sometimes we feel that it's getting better, and sometimes we receive shocks. Just recently, what happened in Nkambe, with the explosion at the grandstand, where thousands of people gathered to celebrate the Youth Day. There are times we sit and we hear incidents like in Boya. We hear incidents in Manfe. We hear incidents everywhere. Not to talk of my Momo division, where people were publicly executed. So, as a movement, we do brainstorm a lot on all of these things. We do consultations. Everybody is trying to get his own information everywhere to see what we can we can actually recommend. It's sometimes very difficult now because we don't know what should be the main solution on this problem. It takes me back to last week when I was in Bamenda to attend the Youth Summit. And I was privileged to be given a recognition by the youths of the Northwest region as their peace ambassador and a role model for the youth of the Northwest. In fact, tears dropped down my cheeks because I did not understand. I asked them, you are giving me a peace ambassador to go and talk to. We have been talking to our brothers. We talk to them. There are sometimes we talk and they and they accept.
When you just say you talk to them, you talk to the youth. That's why those youth gave you this award, because you are meeting them. But them that you are talking about, you have come out before. You are here now. I know you cannot say no to this. You are one rare person in Cameroon who says openly that he talks to the fighters, separatist fighters. How do you talk with them? Tell us the relationship you have with these boys.
Listen, when I get information about anyone I talk to, many of them call us. They have our numbers all over, and they will call you. I'm General this coming from this place. You talk to. You don't have to shy away or run away, and sometimes you put some sense into their brains. Last week, when the youth spoke to me, there were over 350 youths in the hall, and after that, I spoke to over close to 100 Okada riders in Bamenda, and I asked them, I've been given this recognition as a peace ambassador for the region. How do we work? All of us are the peace ambassadors. I need the numbers of all the Amba boys that you know from all parts of the region. Give me their numbers. I will talk to them.
Did they give you?
I've been receiving some. I think for now just 3. I said, don't be afraid. I will not give them the source of how I got their contacts. It's a matter of just talking to people. They are human beings.
This is serious.
So when
Senator,
you call,
this is
I can convince somebody,
yes,
which you may not be able to. If I talk to 5 of those boys, at least 2 will give
you are
a
putting
listening ear.
if you've been having their numbers.
I have been talking to them.
What
to
is
some
the outcome?
of them, especially from my area.
What is the outcome of the talk?
At least many have come out. I'm proud of that.
That's what we want to hear from you.
Many have come out. Many have gone to DDR. Some came out during the negotiations for them to come out, say, I don't like to go to DDR. I want to start my life like this. I want to do this. And we use the authorities to handle that situation. And we have succeeded.
So what you mean clearly is that those boys should look for your number and call you, for those who want to come out.
Our numbers are on social media everywhere. They call all parliamentarians. They call all elites. They call everybody. It depends how you respond to them.
You want to give them your numbers because they watch?
I'm ready to give my number even here.
Yes.
For any Amba boy to call me, but not the fake ones.
Well, we got that. Very, very interesting. These kind of revelations that we need on press are. Yes, Lionel, when you listen to Senator Enwe Francis, how do you feel about this?
I'm happy some of the political elites are demarcating from others, and they are really willing and they are open to discuss and to talk with the people we identify as Ambas, which are all our brothers, because we all come from some regions, from some villages and some communities in the northwest and southwest, and all these people we call Ambas are from these various communities. So why can't we talk to them? I think this is a very good initiative. I've been privileged to embark on a peace crusade campaign with Honorable, which we tried our best to reach out to some of these young people. Many, as he said, came out of and surrendered. Many went to DDR, and some have been carrying out their life. But I want to say, an individual, 1 or 2, cannot help reach out to the target or reach out to the objectives that we have. We want to see all the parliamentarians, all the senators of the regions, of the 2 regions, to come out and do things like what Honorable Enwe is doing.
All the other kinetic forces of
I want to say the political
that,
forces.
I cannot undermine what the senators and parliamentarians are doing as individuals in their various constituencies for peace to come out. Sometimes when some of them talk to somebody and it's hard, then we discuss about the person, and then somebody who can easily talk to that person talks to the person. Mm-hmm. We cooperate with all of them.
Yeah, but the issue is that we cooperate, and we are still having casualties on the field, which I think some of the results would have been seeing that the casualties reduce or even disappear. Unfortunately, when you discuss with some of these guys, The next day they do things that you are surprised.
The opposite of what
they
you
do.
thought.
The opposite of what they agreed with you, and I think there are also some techniques. You have to make sure that you bring around you those who are expert in conflict management to discuss with these guys, because you can be a politician, you can be an elite of the Northwest, because of you are an elite of the region and their community, they respect you, but you don't have that technique, to
that's why he's saying he's working in collaboration with the other forces. That's some of you, as you said. Now let me ask you, as a civil society actor, the situation is actually getting better, because he said we have incidents. He cited, but at one point we thought that it was generalized. We are not minimizing the incidents, because the one on Campbell was one, but it was horrible. So are we not getting? We are getting better. Things are gradually getting better, although the war is still there.
Yes, when you have crisis that starts in a community and you don't handle it immediately, many other people or segment of people come in and with their agendas. So today we are facing people in the Northwest and Southwest who are not still in the same revendications that we had at the beginning. Okay. And most of these people, you don't even know what they want. Mm-hmm. Some of them are not even identified. We used to know in each of the communities in the Northwest and Southwest who are the ambas, because there are people living with us in the community. But today it's very difficult to identify who is the Amba and who is the citizen and who is the one creating havoc in our community. But we say this is because things have not been handled immediately when we cried. I want to recall that when this crisis started in February 2017, on the occasion of the Youth Week, I wrote to the head of state an open letter, which everybody can find on Google, which I was giving tangible solutions on how to manage, on how to reach out to these people, because I went down.
One of the solutions
was to call these leaders and discuss with them immediately, because I went down to Northwest in end of January 2017. I met with the Tassans, the lawyer Bobga, who is on exile, the bike riders, and many other segments of this people. We discussed, and I came back and I could not reach to the head of state. I did an open letter, which I thought could help to do, but up to 7 years after, we are still looking for solutions, which we have the solution. Some people say...
Some people actually quote what you are saying and saying that even if heaven was given to those people you're citing at that time, they already had a hidden agenda. Because from the 11 to the 18 to 24 points that they advanced as time went on, a good number of them actually were handled. But the agenda...
in conflict management, there is what we call in French position de force. At a certain moment, we had to stop this not to even arrive at a conflict. Stopping it was to handle cases case by case. You see, when lawyers come and join together with teachers, it becomes something else. It's not easy to handle all the cases. If you handle the teachers' cases, the lawyer will say you handled theirs without handling theirs. You handle it for lawyers, they will say this.
But so these two groups, the corporate revendications, as you are saying,
yes,
what exactly the lawyers and the teachers were asking for at that level, they had it. At least what they had on the table.
Some have been.
But 90% they had that.
Some not up to 90%. Let's be frank to ourselves, because teachers today are still threatening to strike and to go down to the streets. Lawyers are still calling on the bar or government to authorize the bar for recruitment and many other things. So it's true that a common law bench was created at ENAM. It's true that some facilities were given to the lawyers.
So many of them, we are not going to use them.
I want to say that we have the means. We don't need that crisis. We don't need that people should go down to the street before this solution have been given to them.
Yes.
I am saying when teachers started revendicating like what they are doing now, they had to look for solutions before they go down to the street. Even now, teachers are still grumbling, and if we don't look for solutions, tomorrow we'll find ourselves.
No, there are solutions, because I will tell you that in the head of state speech at the end of the year, he announced a good number, about over a million, over 100 billion or something.
100 billion. Yeah.
Yes, 100 billion, about 102 billion. That in addition to what was given to the teachers last year. No, this is a fact. This is a fact. This is a fact.
I don't differ with that.
In addition to that, is to solve the problems of teachers.
The teachers' problem is not only the secondary school teachers. You have to know that you have grade 1 teachers, you have secondary school teachers, and you have university teachers. At the level of grade 1, do you know how many batch of grade 1 teachers have been trained and are still back in the quarters?
But that is the point we are making.
University teachers.
No, the point we are making is not for them to capitalize on what is not done.
Good.
They should see that the good faith to solve the problems
Kiria,
is there, and that's what's happening.
Our problem is the time that they are taking. The time that they are taking to present that with good will. You know,
we are going out of the topic.
Yes,
we are talking teachers now.
Yes.
Now let us come back to the international crisis per se, where we are. And I'm going now to meet Professor Christopher Ansor, who is an international law expert. He also is a conflict resolution expert. And the question we're trying to answer now is the situation of the crisis in the Northwest Southwest as we stand 7 years on.
Thank you, Mr. Killian. And first of all, let me correct the designation. I am a political scientist. I have a background in international law.
Okay.
A political scientist specialized in conflict resolution.
Okay.
Good. So that corrected. I think the first thing we have to understand is that conflict has a life on its own. And when we talk of conflict having a life on its own, we start from the causes, from tension to widening of the arena to escalations, and then we come now at a level where we have hurting stalemate. That is where we are found.
Mediation.
What do we call hurting stalemate? Hurting stalemate means, you see, all what is happening today, we are hurting ourselves. You have arsons everywhere. You have killings. You have systematic rapes. You have kidnappings. You have all these issues. We are hurting ourselves, and we are going towards a painful future. You know, and when we find ourselves in such a situation, then I think what
Prof,
we have to
do. I'm not stopping you.
Yeah, go ahead.
By what you're saying that the worst is still to come.
I'm saying that we may reach
painful future.
Yeah, the painful future, because with all these issues that are happening, if we are unable to arrest it, and arresting it means the paradigm shift. What is paradigm shift? Moving now to proper mechanism of resolving these conflicts. If we can adopt a proper mechanism to resolve the conflict, we are going to arrest most of these issues. But if we continue in this way that we are going with the military option, I am afraid it is not the best way to go. So what we have to see now is to see how to bring down the actors of this conflict.
Yes.
The first thing is that this is an asymmetric conflict,
yes,
where you have non-state actors and are fighting against state actors. So the non-state actors are parties to conflict, and if we recognize that they are armed rebels, then it is time for us to bring them, dialogue with them, and try to see how to resolve the conflict. If not, we'll keep on shouting every day, fire here, killings here, rape here. Oh, this is just like somebody comes and tell you have diabetes. With diabetes, you have pains, you have all these things. So with conflict, you have pains, you have all these killings, you have kidnapping, you have even thieves coming into it, people exploiting the situation. They exploit the situation because there's chaos. In an organized society, it will not happen in that way. So we are now in a situation where there is a hurting stalemate, and it is the ripe moment. When we talk of hurting stalemate, it is the ripe moment now for the authorities and everyone to think how to resolve the conflict properly.
We are going to let you shed on that. You're going to give us more explanation when we are facing out of this program, because we'll end the program by looking for what are the sustainable solutions that we can have to this contract. But for now, I announced that during the week, Barrister Salai Emmanuel had a press conference in which he announced, he made so many declarations. He had been tracking some of the people who are sponsoring the crisis from abroad, and he wants to bring together those who are abroad to some of them who are at home to take them to justice. Now, we will revisit some of the victims of this crisis and see how much it has hurt them. It has hurt us, and it is hurting the country. Yes, let us listen to some of their very horrible, gruesome stories.
Day of the 2018-2019 academic year, that is Monday the 10th of September, I was assaulted right in the school campus. I was tortured and shot. I knew I was dead. They knew they had killed me, but I survived because I had to shield my head with my hand to reduce the impact, but the damage was there. I've gone through 9 surgeries. I've received a lot of support from the government, from the Presbyterian Church where I work. But I think that a lot could still be done in general for the victims.
I am the daughter of late Florence Ayafo. She was brutally murdered, she was sexually assaulted, she was shot and later on beheaded. Her lifeless body was dumped in the market of Pini, while her head was abandoned behind the brigade of Pini, behind the brigade of Pini. To top it all, after her death, we still kept on receiving death threats from the boys who portrayed the perpetrator, who portrayed the act. We had to move on to relocate to Yaoundé to live with our uncle, who is our legal guardian. Ever since then, life has really been tough because he doesn't really have much. He has his own family to look out to. We've been trying to live, we've been managing. It hasn't been so easy on our side. Few months after we moved to Yaoundé, we started attending court sections.
One evening when I was back from the farm, around 5 o'clock in the evening, my husband told me to go, that he will go and close the door of his workshop. Towards the workshop, the 2 boys were there waiting for him. They get him around 5 o'clock. I waited for him. 9 o'clock, I asked my little one to go and look for him. We went at the workshop. The man was not there. The workshop was open. I came back till morning. Then the rumors came that they have found the dead body one village called Shunja, that we should go and look the dead body. When we went there, we found that it was he. They slaughter him, remove the truth, the heart, the manhood. That was the story. After that, the soldier went there and bring the dead body on the grandstand at Jakiri. Then we bury him at Calling Mission, Jakiri. After that, they were looking for me. They asked me to give them 250,000 because they will still come for round 2. Then I ran with my dear life with all my children, 6 children.
Activities went on so well. Children were found so happy, excited going about the activity of that day. But just few minutes to the end of activity at the grandstand, I witnessed the explosion myself, and I saw how children suffered from severe injuries, and they were rushed to the Nkambe Regional Hospital Annex. When that explosion occurred, it left everyone wondering, because in 7 years since the inception of the Anglophone crisis, Nkambe, peace-loving people have never experienced such a sad moment. We had 121 cases affected. At the moment of the action, 75 were rushed to the hospital, and as the days go by, many now are coming to the hospital as a result of the affection. And then we recorded just one death, Lemnue Cherish from the Bui division, and we have Kala Cynthia, who happens to be the daughter of my elder brother's wife. She is currently at the Bamenda Regional Hospital with her 2 legs amputated. There are 5 of them at the Bamenda Regional Hospital with similar situations.
Horrible indeed. This is the hurting stage that you were talking about, Professor.
Yep, this is what we call the hurting stalemate. We are going to be hearing such gruesome stories, and this is a time that we call it the ripe moment. Instead of us hearing such gruesome narratives, it is time for everyone to sit down and take this country into consideration. I think we should know that peace talks can be happen once, twice, thrice. We should not capitalize on the fact that we have had peace talks and everything, we have the panacea. No. It is time for us to say, okay, there was a Grand National Dialogue, which is very good. The Grand National Dialogue came, proposed some solutions, but the conflict is still ongoing. So what went wrong, or what did the Grand National Dialogue, what did they do rightly and what did they not do rightly?
Yes, when we are going asking about the sustainable solutions towards the end, please come back to that and then tell us what is left to be done. Now we have Barrister Emmanuel Salai, who is an international lawyer, and he has dedicated his life to defend the victims of the crisis in the Northwest and Southwest region. He was here in Yaoundé during the week with a press conference, and he has resolved with his partners, with the other people who are working in that direction, to go after all the perpetrators, because some of them are living out of Cameroon, in America and Europe. So let us listen to his resolve.
We've taken renewed steps. We've tripled our efforts to bring those that seek to harm innocent civilians in the English-speaking regions, those that seek to kill and stop children from going to school. We've taken renewed efforts to bring them to justice, to hold them accountable for their actions wherever they are in the world. My legal team has filed a complaint with the International Criminal Court at The Hague in Netherlands. We have explicitly told them within the past week that, and listed over 40 Cameroonians who reside within the European Union, and most have now nationalities of Norway, Germany, England, France, Italy. We've told them the crimes, these terrorist acts against innocent civilians, children in Cameroon, these crimes against humanity, these human rights violations, these war crimes are done by nationals of the European Union who live in these countries in the European Union, and thus the International Criminal Court must act. It is within their jurisdiction, and we will be following up with them. We have the list of members of these terrorist organizations that cause us harm, and we've provided them along with the evidence. We know the leader resides in Norway. The complaints filed with the United Nations Counter-Terrorism Committee, they're slow because in law you're innocent until proven guilty. Complex international terrorism cases take a while because of the nature of the cases. The victims are so far away from where the cases are filed, it's sometimes hard to get their testimony, sometimes hard to access the evidence. But again, we will succeed because we will not stop. And we're not only filing the cases with these international bodies, but we're also filing the cases directly with the local police that has jurisdiction over these individuals. They're quicker and they're quicker in their actions. But we want the world to know, and we want all these bodies to take note and to bear the pressure on these terrorists so their actions stop.
Yes, I'll go back to you, Professor. You are a political scientist specialized in international law. He has told us the cases he is filing against them in different legal bodies across the world, taking long because it's difficult to get to evidence. It's difficult to. Could you tell us more about this?
Well, I think Barrister Salai, he's doing his work as a barrister, filing the cases in different, locally and internationally, and he's doing his work as a barrister. But now, when it comes to such cases, if you take, I would like to be very practical. Let's take the case of Rwanda. You see how the case was established. First of all, the UN did not accept that there was genocide in Rwanda. But a UN body, the human rights body, went out and established that there was genocide in Rwanda. And that is how they started judging the case. So what Barrister Salai is doing today, he's bringing from one part. Because when the prosecutor will go out, say from the International Criminal Court, he's not going to go just after one party.
Okay.
He's going to see what both parties have been doing, and that is where it becomes complicated. So it is something that will take some time, as he rightly put it, and most of the time it is when the conflict has come to an end that gives them possibility to go on the field and determine all of this aspect and be able to establish precisely what happened. If you look at the case of Côte d'Ivoire, where as well where Laurent Gbagbo and Blaise Godet were taken to the International Court of Justice, the prosecutor has to establish the crimes, and then went into the judgment. So it is a procedure that takes time, and first of all, they have to establish it. Where are they found? As he is saying that most of them are found in
America and Europe.
Yeah. So now the issue is the onus, how to prove it. To prove the crimes that they have been committed, and and then bring them to justice. So, and for sure, those who are found in those countries and perpetrating all these crimes against humanity, war crimes, genocide, etc., will be brought here. Will not be brought. It depends. Because then bringing them to Cameroon is another story. It may be an ad hoc international criminal tribunal will be created, like the one in Arusha or the one in Yugoslavia, where they will be taken there. Because if we want to talk of bringing them to Cameroon, then we're talking about extradition. Extradition is another story on its own.
Okay.
But there are so many issues that are concerned to extradite somebody to a particular country.
Okay.
So many issues will be looked upon. So he is doing his work as a barrister. He is accumulating evidence for abuse, war crimes, and all these issues, and then he is reporting and taking them to various bodies, international bodies and local bodies, which is at least he's doing so.
Thank you very much. I'll come back to you, Senator. You are meeting the boys and meeting other partners. When we talk about the boys, we know the separatist fighters. You are bringing some of them out of the bushes, knowing that some of them are sponsored by these people who live over there. How do you manage the apologists who are out of Cameroon in free societies like America, Europe, and the ones who are acting here, acting under their orders? How do you manage such a complex situation?
Yeah, it's a very complex situation because the educated ones are out there. Even in the cities here, they are there as well, and guiding the boys running around in the bushes. I remember telling one day that you run from one bush to another, very soon you will find you become a chimpanzee. and he laughed. But you will know when you're talking to the boys here, in most cases, they don't talk about independence. They present by their personal problems to you. They are not talking anything linked with independence and so on. And now when they present their problems, you see how you can handle the problem. That's how you get them.
Okay.
The ones out there, we meet with them on social media. Who does not meet with them on social media? They are there every day. They are there in forums. We are all there. And you see how they talk. And then we know how to react to them. And there are sometimes when I hit, They call you behind.
Okay.
Honorable, why are you talking like that? You rotten CPDM people, you that and that. And then you start discussing. And in most cases, this time when you even talk, they'll just say, just allow him. Honorable, you know. So that stage of attacking is no more there. But they call you behind and you people discuss.
There's someone.
But those of them out there will only tell you they should listen to us. We are controlling the boys and so on. But when you talk to the boys, none of the boys is telling you that my leader is this person, talk to him.
Okay.
He will say, talk to me. And then you arrange with him and you see them come out.
Very good. Now, there's someone I must greet on press who was supposed to be part of this program. He went to Boya for the mountain race because he's a notable there. Kange Williams Warsaloko, he had to be part of us here. And for circumstances beyond his control, he could not come back to be with us.
But let me come back to what Barrister Salai just said there. It's true, the victims. I am also a victim. I'm a victim. And I attended even the last press conference that he had.
Yes.
And when I saw the victims, even when they were talking there, I almost shed tears. Because these victims actually is true. We need justice. Now I have been crowned a peace ambassador. I'm just confused how to act again because sometimes, you know, you feel the pain and then you are asked to make peace, which is okay. We'll do the peace. But the victims need some justice. They need to be consoled. And then what I've also noticed is government has created many structures. We have the reconstruction structure is there. The disarmament is there. We have the bilingualism committee is there. But something is still lacking somewhere. How to manage these victims. They need something to manage this social aspect of these victims.
Very important.
Many are still loose. They have that pain.
Yes, the trauma is there.
They are frustrated. The trauma is there. But a structure should be created to see how to handle this particular aspect of
okay, that's very important.
And you also manage to handle even reconciliation because some of these boys that come out this time, we even make them talk to the people that they harmed in their areas.
Okay.
And they will actually talk on the phone. You see some person where my picking, if you don't talk the trouble, no day, and so on. And then that's how it works.
Yes, Lionel, you watch the victims, you've listened to Barrister Emmanuel Salai, what they are doing. Just a word, and then we'll move forward to the resolutions. I will ask Professor Christopher and so some particular questions before.
Yes, I think Barrister Emmanuel Salai is doing a very good job to track some of these perpetrators who are in the diaspora, because we are all victims. When I say we are all victims, we cannot move freely to our various communities as we used to do, and most of our family members are IDPs in some regions, and this has a cost. The other thing that I'm saying is that we should not only be happy to see that some people have relocated because they are victims. We should look at a way to make them have some income generating activities that will permit them to stabilize and to stay back in these communities where we are. The other thing that we have to do is that we have to protect these victims. Protecting these victims means that we have to give them a special counseling, we have to give them special follow-up, we have to give them a special attention in such a way that they can start rebuilding their minds.
Yes.
And
the minds, very important. Yes, we underline
building the minds.
Yes.
Building the minds, because, and the other thing I would say is that it's very easy to say people should forgive, but forgetting is another thing.
Mm-hmm.
We can forgive easily, but forgetting is a very big process. Yeah. And for someone to forget, government need to put in place some of the mechanisms which Prof was mentioning here for them to follow and to go. And we also know that in our communities we have people who are not identified as ambas, but who are also instigating this because they have some activities that they are carrying around
war economy,
which are helping them to survive or also to live. These are some of the people that they also have to identify and ask them, what can you do than this activity that you are carrying out, which is fueling the crisis. And we should not instead push them to go into the bush, but we can reach out to them, ask them what they can do, and reintegrate them
into the society.
And the reintegration has to be universal, has to be for everybody, all the parties. Because I have noticed that only the voices who are coming out from the bush are being rearmed,
disarmed,
and reintegrated in the society. Whereas the victims and even the IDPs, some of the IDPs are even more traumatized than the victims.
That's correct. Thank you for that. We're going to take Emmanuel Salai, Esquire, for the last time, and then now we fall on the various solutions that we await from you, the panelists. Yes, Emmanuel Salai thinks that he has made a lot of progress in the cases that he has against separatist sponsors abroad. Let's watch him once again.
We have almost 30 separatist terrorists right now in U.S. jail. Some are in pretrial detention. So there has been significant progress. But that is not enough. These terrorist organizations, they number in their thousands, and they're worldwide. Our renewed focus today is not just on the USA, but also on those that reside in the European Union.
Okay. So he promises to go further than that. We have about 13 minutes to go, maximum 30 minutes to go to the end of this program. Prof, in 3 minutes, answer these questions. Why are these lawsuits not having immediate effects by Barrister Salai?
Well, as I said earlier, he is doing his work as a barrister, and it is a procedure. And now, he takes it to the court. The conflict is ongoing, and secondly, as the conflict is ongoing, it becomes difficult to establish some of these crimes that he is talking about. The crimes have to be established, and if they are established, okay, good. Secondly, we need an expert team to go on the field, and because Barrister Salai is speaking from his own angle. And now you need a neutral extra team that is supposed to go on the field and then establish these crimes and try to go. You see, in 2019, I think International Crisis Group did something of that nature. These are rights groups. There are so many rights groups that have done that locally and internationally that are doing that. But the time is not yet has not yet come. And I think that when the time will come, that is when they will try to start to.
A question that follows that one is, why is the international community, many people question what it is, but we know what it means when we say international community. Why is the international community apparently unconcerned about what's happening in Cameroon?
I don't think that the international community is not concerned. The first thing we have to understand is to define the typology of conflict. What type of conflict do we have? I see it is a domestic conflict, though some people will call it international conflict. It is a domestic conflict, and the international community, from the first look of things, will say, okay, it is a domestic issue, let the government of that country deals with it. So if they'll give enough time for the government to deal with it, and if the government is unable or unwilling to deal with it, that is when the international community will come in. And it takes a lot of time, because there are so many interests at stake, and with this interest, they have to give time before they come in.
We are dealing here with non-state armed groups, just groups. Why is the military option not also giving immediate results?
This conflict is an asymmetric conflict. And as an asymmetric conflict, we have to look at the causes. We have micro causes, we have meso causes, and we have even macro causes. And we have the mobilization and the processes on how people are being mobilized to join these armed groups. You have within the families, within social groups, within sport groups, within the cultural groups, and all these issues. So it becomes very, very complicated for the military to resolve the conflict, and that is why we need a multifaceted approach, what we call the environmental collaboration, to solve this conflict. And this can only happen when the government works in collaboration with all the actors. The non-state actors who are part of the conflict, and as well the community leaders like traditional chiefs, mayors, and all those, then it can lead to somewhere. But if it continues in a way that is going on where only the government is trying to bring a solution to this conflict, I think it's going to be very, very difficult
The last question, please be very smart, snappy in 45 seconds. For example, some people of the Northwest, Southwest who are openly, we know that this is hurting them. Is it out of fear of what is happening, Black Lake and the rest, you are afraid that you'll be victimized, or is sympathetic with what is happening?
Both. We cannot keep away fear. Because actually, for example, we have seen how so many people are being frightened because they know that if they do this or say this out, it will leak and they will be targeted. So you have a lot of fright within the society. That is one. Being sympathetic, yes, there are so many people who are sympathetic to this cause. And that is why I say that in order to make it, to resolve it properly, then we have to address both those who are frightened and those who are being sympathetic to the cause.
Thank you, and this is the part that we're going to face out of this, and we're going to start with you, Lionel. Now, sustainable solutions to these problems. If you today were to be asked, use this podium to propose what can end this senseless war that is hurting all of us.
Thank you, Killian. I think the root causes of this crisis have been identified already. Some of the solutions that came out from the consultations that we had, like the major national dialogue, consultations with international group. I worked on the field with an international organization, which is African Rising, concerning this crisis, which we came up with some points, and most of the points were similar to those that came up from the major national dialogue, and some of the points have been addressed. But what we want, what we are proposing now, is that the government should make sure that they should create a platform, a communication platform, a reception platform where all the stakeholders working for peace to come back in Northwest can collaborate, can carry activities towards the peace. Because when you look at the commission that was put in place after the major national dialogue, you ask yourself, what is your duty on a daily basis? But you see civil society organizations, you see other major actors on the field doing the job. But if all this is bring together or is channeled, I think we will find peace. And the other thing is to make sure that we identify through our community leaders those that we think can really impact on these young people and these Cameroonians in the bush to come out. Because the community leaders have a very important role to play.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Thank you very much, Senator. Sustainable solutions. For example, you see the role that you play. You are the coordinator of the Northwest Southwest Peace Movement for Cessation of Violence. Each time I talk about this, I pay tribute to Honorable Mbile Norbert,
blessed memory.
Norbert of blessed memory, with whom you created this movement. Sustainable solutions. That is what I'm asking you.
Just like Prof said, it is a multifaceted problem, and we definitely have multifaceted solutions. No one solution solves it all. And while the military action is going on, there should be other. That's why we are working behind the peaceful solution. And if all put their heads together, working with all the actors, just like Leonard said there, for peace to come, because this peace will not import it from somewhere. It will come from us. We come from villages where these boys come from. We know their compounds, we know their parents, we know their uncles and everybody. Mm-hmm. Some of them are our cousins.
That's a fact.
So we cannot put an approach where you talk. I cannot come to talk to somebody in Kumbu who does not know me. We cannot even speak the same dialect. But if we identify somebody and we see that you can talk to, we use you. But now it has become a conflict that
it's also possible. It's also possible that it could be that type of person that only a foreigner will talk to.
So then you prepare the ground for the foreigner to talk to.
Okay.
There are some of the guys when we talk to, and it gets rough. I meet somebody, call on the phone and say, please talk to this person. This person is this.
Okay.
And then they talk with the phone on speaker, and you hear them chat.
Very good. Now,
So, but what we see is the way they are acting. You can see just two boys in mile 17 Boya get up at 5 a.m. and fire shots in the air, and it's a ghost town on that day.
then they
Just two. Everybody will stay at home.
yes, that's the aim of creative fear.
So one of the so when they are creating fear and it's going like that, who is not afraid to die? But now, a sustainable solution. Many people still say it's a political solution. People have been saying that. You have been saying. Everybody is saying that. But yes, we as the politicians, we are also doing all our best. We do a lot as elite. We do a lot as with traditional rulers. We do a lot with the youth and so on for peace to return. But if there's that other political aspect that has to come from somewhere, we call it on that person to should also do something, because we want everybody to act for peace to return.
Thank you very much. Yes, Professor, sustainable solution.
Yes. So the first thing I'll say is that what both of them have said is very correct. You know, there is a lot going on in the society today. They are strengthening the society, which is very correct. There are structures that are already put in place in the society. Perfect. That is very good. But where do we start? First thing is to have a proper dialogue where the actors in this conflict should be brought together and discuss, and then how do we proceed with the resolution. And then when that is done, it depends. Now they will set the tone on how it's going to be. When that is done, now you have what we call root, because now we have to identify the type of conflict. And we know it's asymmetric conflict. As an asymmetric conflict, now we have two main issues: root-based issues and need-based issues. When we talk of root-based issue, we talk of this emotional aspect that people feel that their rights, their culture, that this has been touched and must be reinstituted.
And you should not pick a gun to go and kill yourself.
You are right.
Because you are right.
I have not said that. I have not said I don't support violence. I don't support that. But what I'm trying to see, how do we come out of it? That's where I'm interested at the moment.
Yeah.
And that's why I say you have the root-based issues that should be addressed, and then you have the need-based issues. I'll just give like one: power sharing in this country. So, and all those things are things that the Anglophones that have been talking about. So, if you go now, you have a long list of that. Infrastructure and so many things. These things have to be put in place, and then but they will define all those things there, what they think is important for the conflict to come to an end. And when this agreement has been made, then you see now it moves now to the phase of implementation. After the implementation, it builds up trust building. Then we see how the society, that is when all those structures that you people are talking will become very, very active. What we call peace building from below. You see, because the people in these regions, they know the problems more than us. We should not pretend to know it more than them. They know the problems more than those abroad. They should not pretend to know it more than those people in the northwest and the southwest. So that is why we talk of peace building from below. They will participate. The civil society will participate to strengthen and to build up the society. I think that is how.
Thank you very much. I think on that note, Professor So Christopher, who is a political scientist specialized in international law, you also are conflict resolution expert. Thank you very much for coming. Senator Enwi Francis, coordinator Northwest Southwest Peace Movement for Cessation of Violence. Thank you very much for being there.
Well, I'm happy being here today, and I do believe that when we talk like this, those our boys in the bushes are listening.
They are listening.
And I think
they're watching.
They should come forward to us. Let's begin to talk.
Yes.
We can do the dialogue within ourselves in our communities.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Lionel Kungaba, who is a civil society actor. It was our pleasure to have you on this set today.
Thank you, Keelan. Thank you to all our viewers. We hope we are not wasting our time here every Sunday to try to bring up solutions and to call the attention of our brothers in the bush that what they are doing are not is not worthy, and they should get out for us to discuss and bring back peace to our communities.
Thank you. And you're talking about our viewers, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for your time. If you missed out on anything on today's edition of Press Hour, nothing is lost. Yes, we have a rebroadcast of this program on Monday at 2:30 p.m. Thanks once again, and be blessed.